Jen Psaki. All right, Jen Psaki. Let's hear what she has to say when it comes to some of the immigration issues we are currently facing.
Thank you, Jen. First, on immigration, our team in Texas is saying that you guys are starting to give smartphones to border crossers, hoping that they'll use the phones to check in or to be tracked. Which part of that is supposed to deter people from crossing illegally into the States?
Well, I think you of all people, since you've asked me a range of questions on this topic over time, would recognize that we need to take steps to ensure that we know where individuals are and we can track and we can check in with them. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. First, on immigration, our team in Texas.
So, like I said before, you remember the Obama phones? Well, now we got Biden phones. Biden phones going to illegal immigrants crossing the border. Now, here's the funny thing that I love about this is a lot of the defense of this has been, well, we got to use it to call them, make sure they show up to court. Or you could just put them in prisons until their court date. I mean, I'm just saying. But yeah, that's what's. But I'm like, do you really expect them to really answer? If they're going to avoid it, they're going to avoid it, right? They're going to either ditch the phone or they're just going to not. They're going to say, yeah, sure, I'll show up on Monday, and then not show up on Monday, right? That doesn't really do anything to stop people from breaking into the country illegally. Two, they then say, well, we got to track them. We got to track them. And I don't think people realize how terrifying that is. Now, we know our phones are pretty much trackers, right? These are tracking device for the most part. But this is people who are literally just saying, oh yeah, it's great. The government can make sure they just know where they are at any given time, right? They're just going to track these people to make sure they can hunt them down by using their cell phone to triangulate their position, I guess. I don't know. The fact that they are actually saying, oh, it's so good, we can track people in the country using their phone without them even knowing about it. That's kind of disturbing, right? And that's got to be a little disturbing. We're giving free phones to these people. They say free phones. No. What it is we paid for their phones, right? It's taxpayer phones. Let's be clear about this. There's nothing free that the government ever gives. It's taxpayer funded, which means that money they took out of you this year for tax season, guess what? Went to these phones. I guarantee you all of my family's taxable income for the entire year, we would not pay for even half of these phones. All right, and this is how much the government spends without even thinking about it. I mean, free phones to illegal immigrants. Yeah, let's just give them a bunch of free phones. That works out. That will work out so well. But Texas they've been tired of this. They have been just sick of it. And Governor Greg Abbott has actually, I think, done something that's going to be that's a little bit trolling in a way, but is kind of hysterical at the same time to me. Like, it might actually be pretty a smart move here, too. It might be a upgrade from the Freedom Convoy. So how about the illegal immigrant convoy? So Texas Greg Abbott to send buses of migrants to D.C. ahead of Title 42 surge. Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state troopers on Wednesday to begin stopping and inspecting commercial vehicles along the United States-Mexico border, and said bus charters would be offered to take illegal migrants to Washington, D.C. in a dig at President Biden and Congress. With only 7 weeks to go until the Biden administration lifts Title 42 immigration order, Abbott announced multiple measures to protect his state and combat the massive influx of migrants anticipated to cross the border this spring. To help local officials, because communities are being overwhelmed by hordes of illegal immigrants who are being dropped off by the Biden administration. Texas is providing charter buses for these illegal immigrants who have been dropped off to Washington, D.C., the Republican governor said Wednesday. We're sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across our border, he said. Soon after Greg Abbott signed the order directing Texas Division of Emergency Management to head up the operation, Texas officials also said they would begin to increase military activity on the southern border to install razor wire at some low water along the river to deter migrants from crossing. So real quick, this is downright genius. I love it. I absolutely love it. So Biden, obviously, it's not the Texans who want the illegal immigrants crossing, right? Texas does not want to deal with this problem. They want the United States government to do their damn job. So, but the government says, oh, but, no, we got to help these people. We need to help these people. They have all these needs that we need help with. So he's like, so Greg Abbott says, all right, well, why don't we send them over to you so you can better address their needs? Now, this kind of reminds me back during the Black Lives Matter riots, where at first there was that one journalist going, yeah, look at them destroy this part of town. Woohoo! Good job, Black Lives Matter. Fantastic. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Just going crazy about it. And later he had a tweet going out. What? They're coming into our suburban neighborhood. Oh God, what are we supposed to do? We didn't do any of this. Why do we deserve it? We don't deserve it. No. Get the police out here. Please stop them. Democrats love these kind of people until they have to deal with these kind of people. And again, I'll say it a dozen times over. I've said it in multiple past videos. I understand why people would want to cross the border and leave the hellholes that are over in Central and South America and come over here. I totally get it. I would too. That's not the issue. The issue is, what does it then cause here? Obviously, it causes higher unemployment. And people go, oh, if they took your job, you should better at your job. Or they're taking the jobs that people aren't willing to do. They aren't willing to do them because typically they don't pay well. So guess what would happen if no one was doing the job? They would increase the damn pay. That's how the system works. The system works that the job will pay what people are willing to get paid. If you're not willing to get paid that amount and you leave, and then you bring in a bunch of people in who are willing to work for even less than that amount, that wage will never go up. You wonder why we have wage stagnation in this country. It has nothing to do with the businesses. It has everything to do with the fact of we are bringing in hordes after horde of, and there are hordes. There are hordes of people coming in at these waves at a time coming in. They're coming in and it dilutes our labor market. It dilutes our labor market by having more people than we can actually sustain in the country. And there's a limit to this sort of stuff. And not even talking about illegal immigration. We're talking even legal immigration. We have too much immigration, period. It used to be we would take in some people and then give them time to assimilate and then take in more. We didn't sit there and have this continuous spread of people constantly coming to the country. I mean, there's also so many other issues. Let's face it. If they are, let's say they are actually sending their best. Let's say the Democrats are right, and the people coming across the border are, the future business owners of America, and they're going to establish, all these great things and help our country out so much. Well, don't we've just done? We just took someone who would have been the difference maker in their hellhole of a country, who could have actually turned it into something worthwhile, and we have poached that person and brought him over here. I don't think that's entirely right. I don't think it's right for us to say, hey, yeah, just if you're smart, come over here and we'll help you out. I think it takes away from these countries that actually need the intelligent ones to stay there. All right, Honduras needs people who are good people. So if the people coming across the border, all the Honduras immigrants coming across the border, if they are all good people, then what would serve them better is to stay in their country and to can fix it already. The country is only as bad as the people let it to become, for the most part. And for the most, you see it's even here, right? Chicago was absolutely just a hellhole because they have let it become a hellhole. There's not really that big of a difference when it comes to any city in America, except for the fact of the leadership and the people who live there. People who live there had decided, we want laws that will make this place a hellhole. The Democrats keep acting like these immigrants who are coming over the border are coming over here and they just happen to come from bad areas. They just happen to come from bad areas. These areas just happen to be bad areas. Honduras is bad not because the people of Honduras have allowed it to become bad, but instead it is bad just because, well, we don't know. It just happens to be that way. No, the people have let it become that way. The people have allowed El Salvador to be a terrible place to live. The people have allowed the cartels to take over in Mexico. The people have allowed these things to happen. And until the people decide to stand up, there really isn't much more you can say about it other than, why are we letting the people who allowed that happen to their country come into our country? All right, I'm tired of it. I am absolutely tired of it. I don't care if they're Hispanic. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're white. If you're coming over here from, if you're one of the people who actually are Russian citizens who supports Russia and supports in many of the laws they have in place, I don't want you here. I don't care that you're white. I don't want you here. If you're someone from Mexico who, is living in a country and have completely allowed it to become the way it is, why do I think that you're going to make this place better? And even if you do, man, you could have been the person to help change your home country. All right, if you are a good person, you should stay and fix your country. That would be the better solution for much of the issues going on in the world. What's going on in places like Africa, right? Where they act like, oh, it just happens to be poor. It just happens to be people starving to death. No, nothing just happens in that regard. They have chosen a government system that fails them. They have chosen to stay where they are and do what they're doing. They have chosen to stay in place. And those who could actually make a difference in their country say, I'd rather come to America. And I get it. I totally get it. I would too. But in the end, you're causing more harm to your home country when you leave it at that point. So you also have to ask that question too. Is it morally right for us to take all the people who would be the difference makers, who could actually help these countries succeed, and take them for ourselves? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But I mean, back to a little bit of a tangent there, but back to Greg Abbott sending these buses over there. Flanked by Texas troopers on the border city of Wasilla, or not Wasilla, or I don't know how to actually say that place, to be honest. Abbott acknowledged that additional inspections for commercial vehicles into U.S. ports of entry will dramatically slow vehicle traffic coming into the country. Tough luck. That's just how it goes. Following the governor's press conference, Rep. Henry Culler, Texas Democrat, said Abbott is clearly trying to make a point to D.C. lawmakers on the issue. Yes. I don't think he's hiding that. Abbott announced several other measures, including inspection of commercial vehicles entering the state from Mexico, as many of them the governor claimed are smuggling immigrants and other illegal cargo into Texas onto the roads. The Texas Department of Public Safety will conduct enhanced safety inspections as vehicles cross international points of entry, while Abbott admits the measure will dramatically slow traffic. Yes. Additionally, the Republican revealed that beginning Thursday, the National Guard will begin its first phase of mass migration rehearsal to prepare the anticipation of surge of people crossing the border late this spring. Abbott said National Guard troops be equipped with riot gear to prevent potential caravan violence. The governor also announced that the state will implement blockades on the road to border towns. Blockades on the road border, okay. Wednesday's announcement is the first in a two-part process of preparing for the lifting of Title 42 in May. Abbott said, hinting that additional announcements will come later this week. I would love to see what's coming later this week. Over the course between today and next week, Texas will continue to evaluate press and oppose the Biden administration's open border policies and announce additional actions next week to respond to his unprecedented illegal border crossings, he continued. So, here's the point of entry. Whew. No. And that is pretty crazy. As of now, the Pentagon is not planning to send additional troops directly to the border, but seemed open to considering. Yeah, we'll see. So, Greg Abbott he's not the best governor at the moment. DeSantis definitely outdoes Abbott, but he's done a few good things, right? He's done some pretty good things. This is one of them. Making sure that D.C. feels the suffering of Texas. That is what he's hoping here, that D.C. will feel the suffering of Texas. It's funny that Democrats say, well, he's just trying to make a point. Yeah, he's trying to make a point. And? Y'all try to make a point with every last thing y'all do. Y'all passed the anti-lynching bill as if that wasn't already illegal. You did it just to make a point. You didn't do it because it actually did anything important. This does something actually more important, though. This actually, for one, will hopefully make some people who are unaware of how bad the situation really is maybe a bit more aware when they see buses showing up after bus after bus after bus. And this is what we need more of. We need more states to assert their authority over the federal government. States have more power than they have been led to believe. When you look at the Constitution, it says any anything that's not particularly given to the federal government then resides to the states. Yet the federal government has taken everything from the states. Look at something as simple as OSHA. OSHA's a good thing for the most part. They've done some good stuff overall. I mean, I think that we do need probably something kind of, I'm not big L libertarian, I'm kind of small L libertarian. So I'm not opposed to something that's OSHA-like, but it's not the federal government's responsibility. That's a state government issue. When you're talking about regulations for different businesses, that's a state government issue. It has nothing to do with the federal government. When you talk about education, it has nothing to do with the federal government. It's a state issue. When it comes to illegal immigration coming to this country, yes, this would be a federal problem, but the federal government's pushing these people onto the states, and the states need to let the government know this is unacceptable. This is not acceptable. Because again, this stuff destroys communities. It destroys communities, and more importantly, it destroys culture. And that's a big one right there. It destroys culture. You are talking about our culture being supplanted by Central and South American culture. And that's not a good thing. People go, oh, but it's so great. We get the cultural enrichment. We get cultural enrichment. Cultural enrichment of what? Failed policies? Allowing cartels to run all over us? No. There are some positives to Mexican culture, I will say. There's a lot of great positives, actually, when it comes to Mexican, Puerto Rican, or really any of the Central, especially the Central American countries in particular. One of them is they usually have very strong family units that I absolutely love. We do need more of that. They typically are more religious, which is great. These people, for the most part, I'm sure that a lot of them are good people. It doesn't mean you can just let them in unvetted, though. And again, even if you're talking about vetting, like I said before, we have too many people in here already. Our cities are already overcrowded. Infrastructure is already falling apart. Jobs are already stagnant as is, and you want to bring in even more immigration, or you don't care about who's coming into the countries, which is even worse than even upping legal immigration. Legal immigration should not be upped, let alone illegal immigration. Thanks so much for watching that clip. If you want to watch the live show, it is Thursdays at 9 o'clock. Again, that is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But if you don't want to wait that long, we got some other awesome content out there. All you got to do is click on this video over to the right, and it will take you right on to the next one. Either way, thanks so much for watching, and we'll be talking again real soon.